everyone, welcome back to my class. This is Rumana Ali. I hope you all are doing well. In the last session we have seen that bone marrow is a place where all the blood cells are formed, and we have discussed about all the characteristic features of our red blood cells, and we have also studied about white blood cells in the last session. In today's session we are going to see the functions of all the white blood cells. So here we know that blood cells are formed in our bone marrow. This is our bone marrow. Inside the bone marrow some specialized pluripotent cells are present, right, which are continuously dividing. So these cells are called as stem cells. These stem cells, they undergo certain division and they give rise to different cells. For example, if the stem cells produces some white blood cells, especially the granulocytes like basophils. So basophils are the white blood cells. Let us see the function of basophils first. This is our blood vessel. In the blood vessel, plasma is present and red blood cells are found, and even white blood cells and platelets are found. Now, these basophils are present in the blood vessels. From the bone marrow, it has been transported into the blood vessel. This basophil, once they reaches the blood, if any foreign material like any bacteria enters into the blood, then these basophil activate itself. That means its function gets started. So what does it do? Basophils are the WBCs that have the ability to engulf the bacteria. So this is our bacteria. This is our bacteria. If it enters into the blood, this bacteria is eaten, it is engulfed by the basophils. So this is our white blood cell, that is neutrophil. Neutrophil is a kind of white blood cell that can be stained by both acidic dye and basic dye. Now let us see the function of these neutrophil. Once they reaches the blood vessel, they are present in the plasma of the blood. We know that blood is made up of two components, plasma and the blood cells. So neutrophil is a blood cell. It is a white blood cell. Once it reaches the blood vessel, now it starts its function. Its function is to detect the bacteria, is to detect the foreign materials and to engulf them. So neutrophils are phagocytic in nature. Phagocytic means it has the ability to engulf the bacteria. So if this is a neutrophil, and for example, if this is a bacteria which enters into the blood vessel, these neutrophils goes near the bacteria and it engulfs this bacteria. This is how the phagocytosis takes place by a type of white blood cell, that is neutrophil. So this is the function of a neutrophil. Now if stem cells produces basophil, then these basophils, once they enter into the blood vessel, if it finds any foreign particle, if it finds any bacterial infection in the blood vessel, then it starts its function against that foreign particle, against that bacteria, right? What is the function of basophil? So basophil, basically it releases three chemicals. One is histamine, other one is heparin, and the third one is serotonin. So these three chemicals are released by the basophils if it finds any bacterial infection in the blood vessels. Let us see the role of each chemical. While learning about asthma, I already explained you that once the histamine is released by the cells, histamine is released by which cell? It is released by mast cell. So once these basophils reaches the tissues, in the tissues it becomes mast cell. Basophils are the white blood cells that acts as a mast cell. So this mast cell releases these three chemicals. If it finds any infection in the tissues, then this mast cell releases three chemicals, histamine, heparin and serotonin. Histamine is a chemical which is released during allergic reaction. Histamine is a chemical that is released by the mast cell and it acts as a vasodilator. Vasodilation, the blood vessels, it becomes swollen. So this is how the vasodilation takes place due to the release of a chemical called histamine. Heparin is a chemical which acts as an anticoagulant. Anticoagulant means it prevents the coagulation, it prevents blood clotting. So whenever any infection occurs in the blood vessels or in any other tissues, then these mast cells releases a heparin in order to prevent the clotting, so that it can stimulate the free flow of the blood. Serotonin is a chemical which acts as a vasoconstrictor. So this is how all these three different chemicals are released by the mast cells that are nothing but our basophils in order to fight against the infections. Now, if stem cells undergoes division, if it forms eosinophil, these are the white blood cells that can be stained by using acidic dyes, and these eosinophil can help in preventing parasitic infections. It helps to prevent parasitic infection. For example, if in your small intestine some parasites are present in the blood vessels of your small intestine. So what happens? This Ascaris, it undergoes certain division and it is going to increases in number. Now to stop their division, these eosinophil goes and binds on the body of this Ascaris and try to kill that Ascaris, and hence it helps in preventing this parasitic infection. So this is the role of a type of white blood cell which is named as eosinophil. So we talked about the functions of granulocytes. Now we'll see the agranulocytes, the function of agranulocytes. So agranulocytes are of two types which we have already learned. One is monocyte and the other one is lymphocyte. Firstly, we'll see the function of monocyte. Monocyte is a type of agranulocyte. It is a white blood cell. Whenever any bacterial infection occurs in the blood or in our body, then these monocyte becomes macrophages. That means it becomes bigger in size, it increases its diameter, and it becomes more and more dangerous in order to kill that bacterial infection. So these macrophages are also phagocytic in nature, like that of neutrophil. So among all the white blood cells, neutrophils and the macrophages are two types of cells that are phagocytic in nature, that helps in engulfing the foreign particle and to prevent the bacterial infection. This is the role of macrophages, that are nothing but our monocyte. The other one is lymphocyte. Lymphocytes are of two types. One is B lymphocyte and the other one is T lymphocyte. After the formation of B lymphocyte and T lymphocytes in the bone marrow, both of them are sent into the blood vessels. Once they reach the blood vessels, B lymphocytes gets matured. It will be a matured one, but T lymphocytes are immature in the blood vessels. Now these T lymphocytes, they want to become mature. So where they will go? They will enter an organ called thymus. It is a lymphoid organ. So T lymphocytes enters into the thymus. Once they enter into the thymus, they become mature. So the immature T lymphocytes can be converted into mature one once they reached an organ called thymus. Both B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes boosts our immune system and helps to fight against the different infections in order to prevent various kinds of diseases. So this is how all the white blood cells are playing crucial role in order to fight against different infections and to provide immunity to the human body. Based on the functions of all these white blood cells, we call them as policemen of our body, as they are fighting against the different infections. So this is about the different types of granulocytes and its function, and also about the agranulocytes and its role in preventing different bacterial infections. Up till we were discussing about the blood, its component, where does the blood form, how it is transported to the different organs, we have discussed, and even we have learned about the different types of circulatory system, open and closed type of circulatory system. So while learning about closed type of circulatory system, we have seen that the blood vessels are present like arteries. Arteries are the blood vessels that are responsible to carry the oxygenated blood. So, from the arteries, the oxygenated blood enters into the blood capillaries, and blood capillaries are found in the different organs. Suppose this is our organ, any organ we can take. So, this is any organ that is found in our body. This organ shows the presence of blood capillaries in it, because the blood capillaries are the blood vessels that carries the blood into the different organs of our body. If the blood capillaries would not present, then our circulatory system would not be of closed type. So, in the closed type of circulatory system, always the blood capillaries are found which are present in the organ. So, these blood capillaries are found in the organ, which prevents the flow of blood over the tissues. These blood capillaries, they join together and they are going to open in another blood vessel, that is vein. So, arteries are the blood vessels that carry oxygenated blood, that transport oxygenated blood into the cells of our organ, into the tissues of our organ. Once the blood is taken up by the organ through blood capillaries, then the blood becomes deoxygenated. We all know that if the blood comes and if it is taken by the different cells of our body, so in the cell one activity is always taking place to produce ATP, like glucose reacts with oxygen, it forms ATP, then it gives carbon dioxide. So, once the oxygenated blood is used up by the different tissues of our organ, this results in the formation of a waste gas, that is carbon dioxide. And this carbon dioxide, if it is going to reaches our blood, then the blood becomes deoxygenated, and that deoxygenated blood is carried by our vein. So, here the arteries, it carries oxygenated blood. This oxygenated blood moves into the blood capillaries. The blood capillaries have some holes. Through these holes, a fluid is coming out, and we call this fluid as tissue fluid or interstitial fluid. It is our blood only, but without proteins and RBCs. So, the tissue fluid which is coming out of our blood capillary, it is taken up by the cells. This tissue fluid contains oxygen in it, it contains glucose, it contains certain nutrients, and it also contains water and some ions. So, all these materials are required by the cell. The cell takes up this tissue fluid, makes the ATP, it forms the ATP, and once the ATP formation has been done, the carbon dioxide is released as a waste gas. This carbon dioxide from the tissues again enter into the blood capillary. So, once the carbon dioxide from the cells enters into the blood capillary, the blood which is present in the blood capillary, it becomes deoxygenated, and that deoxygenated blood is transported to our veins. I hope it's clear. Now, we'll see what is the meaning of lymph. So, here this tissue fluid, as I told you that some proteins are present in the blood. These are some proteins, and even the red blood cells are found, right? So, red blood cells and proteins, they are not coming out. They cannot come out through the holes which are present over the blood capillaries. Only the tissue fluid can releases out of our blood capillaries. If 3 liters of tissue fluid comes out of our blood capillaries, then 3 liters of would not be back to the blood capillaries. So, where does that fluid go? This tissue fluid is taken by some specialized capillaries which are closed at one end, like this. The capillaries are present, thin capillaries are present which takes this fluid. These capillaries, they show some holes, and that holes can easily absorb, can easily takes the tissue fluid which is found in our organ. So, once the tissue fluid enters into these capillaries, it is called as lymph. So, lymph is a fluid in which white blood cells, especially lymphocytes, are present. Except proteins and red blood cells, all the other things that are found in our blood, it can comes out. WBCs that are coming out of these blood capillaries, that process is called as diapedesis. So once the diapedesis occurs, the tissue fluid, it contains lymphocytes, it contains different kinds of white blood cells. That white blood cells containing fluid, once it enters into these thin capillaries, it is termed as lymph. And these capillaries join together, it gives rise to a blood vessel. This blood vessel opens into the vein again. So the fluid which is taken up by these capillaries, it is going to enter into the vein. So what is the use of taking up the liquid, taking up the fluid and then giving that fluid back to the vein? Here one process takes place, and which is very, very important, that is screening. In the lymph vessels, some nodes are present. These nodes are called as lymph nodes. Inside the lymph nodes, many of the B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes are found. Many of the B and T lymphocytes are present in the lymph nodes. So they start their function. They screen the lymph, they screen the blood, the fluid which is taken by the lymph vessels, whether the bacteria is present or not. If the bacteria is not present, then that fluid is sent through the lymph vessels into the vein, and the vein carries that blood to the heart for the oxygenation. This is how the process of screening takes place with the help of lymph vessels and lymph nodes. Here I will take one example to understand it more clearly. This is a river. If you want to check the pollutants which are present in the water, are you going to take the whole river to the checking center? No, you will be taking some amount of water as a sample, and that sample is sent to the checking center. Once the checking is done, once the screening of water is done, this water is again sent back to the river. This is how the process is going to happen through lymph vessel, lymph nodes, and then the fluid returns back to by the lymph vessels. And all these transport is going to happen because of the specialized cells that are present on the walls of arteries and also on the walls of blood capillaries. So what are that cells? The cells are squamous epithelial cells. The wall of the arteries is made up of squamous epithelial cells. The layer of this squamous epithelial cell is called as endothelium. So endothelium can be seen in the arteries as well as in the blood capillaries. That makes the transport of the fluid smoothly. So the smooth flow of fluid from the blood capillaries into the different organs of our body is possible because of the presence of endothelium. This is about the formation of lymph. Lymph is nothing but a fluid which is taken by the lymph capillaries in order to screen the blood whether it is affected by some bacteria or not. This is how the testing of the blood can be done by our lymphatic system. Now let us study about our lymphatic system. Lymphatic system consists of lymph, which is a fluid. It is almost like our blood but without RBCs and without proteins. And in the lymph we can find the presence of lymphocytes that are present more in number. WBCs are present in the lymph. So the fluid which contains lymphocytes and monocytes in it, that fluid is called as lymph. Lymph vessels are also present, lymph capillaries, lymph nodes. So all these things, when we combine together, it forms a system in the human body, and we call that system as lymphatic system. So here a diagrammatic presentation of lymphatic system is given. You can see that the veins, the capillaries, thin blood vessels are present all over the body, and these thin capillaries in which the lymph is taken, in which the lymph is present, that capillaries are called as lymph capillaries. So lymph capillaries are present in all the organs of our body so that the lymph can be circulated throughout the body. The blood which is present in the body, it can be screened by these lymph capillaries and lymph nodes. So we can draw these kind of nodes here in between the lymph capillaries. just before I explain you the function of lymph nodes, right? So lymph nodes helps in screening the lymph whether or not the infection or any foreign particle is present in the fluid. So to screen that, the lymph nodes are very helpful for us. So in this way, lymph nodes are present in all the organs of our body. This is how the lymphatic system is in the human body. Besides the lymph capillaries, lymph nodes and the other things, some special veins are present in the lymphatic system that collects the lymph from the lymph capillaries. That veins are jugular vein and subclavian vein. These two veins are present on both the sides of our body, that is both on right side and also on the left side in the chest cavity. In addition to these veins, two ducts are also found. One is right lymphatic duct, which is found at the right side of our body, and the other duct is present at the left side and it is named as thoracic duct. So basically, jugular vein, subclavian vein, thoracic duct, right lymphatic duct, lymph capillaries, lymph nodes and lymph, all these things can be seen in our lymphatic system, and this lymphatic system helps to screen the fluid which is circulating throughout of our body. So now let us see the composition of lymph and also the different things that are found in the blood but not in our lymph. So when you see the presence of red blood cells are present in our blood. In the lymph, you cannot find the presence of red blood cells. Red blood cells are absent in our lymph. This point I already mentioned before. And when you see the proteins, then proteins are found in a huge amount in our blood, but the proteins are not present in a huge amount in the lymph. Very little amount of proteins, very little proteins can be seen in the lymph, which is a fluid. When we talk about the gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide and also the end product of digestion, that is glucose. So oxygen, carbon dioxide, glucose, all these things can be present in the blood. All these things are present in the blood, and these are the things like gases and glucose, these are also present in our lymph. And white blood cells are present in our blood. Without blood cells, we cannot call the fluid as a blood. So in the blood, red blood cells, proteins, oxygen, carbon dioxide, white blood cells, glucose, platelets, all these different substances are found. In the lymph, red blood cells are absent, proteins are very little, and oxygen, carbon dioxide, glucose, white blood cells are present like that in the blood. So the difference between the blood and the lymph is, blood is with red blood cells, lymph is without red blood cells, and lymph is a fluid which is almost similar to the interstitial fluid. That interstitial fluid or the tissue fluid is only the lymph. Once that interstitial fluid enters into the lymph vessels, then we call that fluid as a lymph. And in the lymph, you can find a more number of monocytes. You can find the more number of lymphocytes that boosts our immune system, that helps to fight against the bacteria and also against the different foreign material, or we can say foreign particles that enters our body. So this is about the composition of lymph. Lymph is a fluid in which red blood cells are absent, very little amount of proteins are present, and monocytes and lymphocytes are present in more amount. Monocytes and lymphocytes are our white blood cells, and the basic function of white blood cell is to fight against the different infections. Let us see the structure of lymph vessels and lymph nodes. When we look at the structure of lymph vessels, then these are the pipe-like structures. These are the vessels in which a layer of squamous epithelial cells are found. A layer is present which is made up of squamous epithelial cells, and we call that layer as endothelium. Already in the last topics we have seen that whenever a layer of squamous epithelial cell is present, we call that layer as endothelium. So endothelium is present in the lymphatic vessels, and even the valves are found in the blood vessels. Like in veins, you can see the presence of valves. Valves are one-way doors of our vessels. these are open at one end and close at the other end. So once any fluid enters into the valves, it cannot flow back, it cannot move backward. So the fluid which enters into the valves, it always flows in one direction. So we call these valves as one-way door of our lymphatic vessels. This is how the endothelium layer and valves are present, which enables the flow of lymph into the lymphatic vessels. Now let us see the structure of lymph nodes. We know that lymph vessels shows the presence of some nodes, like a node-like structure, which are termed as lymph nodes. So when you look at the structure of lymph nodes, then it is bean shaped or a kidney shaped, we can say. These lymph nodes are surrounded by some fibrous tissues which are connective in nature. So fibrous tissues are present over the surface of the lymph nodes, and the lymph nodes shows two main parts. The outer part is called as cortex, or the inner part of the lymph node is called as medulla. In the cortex region of the lymph node, the white blood cells like B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes are present, that too in large number. So large number of B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes are present in the lymph node. That helps in screening the fluid, that helps in preventing the different infections. Let us study the functions of lymphatic system. From the starting, we are learning that lymph vessels, lymphatic system is a system that helps to screen the fluids, test the fluids, whether any infection is present or not in that fluid, and if any infection, if any bacteria is found in the fluid, in the lymph, then the T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes which are present in the lymph node, that becomes active and they mount an appropriate response in case of infections. The lymphatic system is a system which helps to drain excess fluids and proteins back into the blood. So excess amount of proteins or excess amount of fluids, if it is going to present in the lymph, then that is sent back to our blood. It also helps in the process of absorption, particularly in the absorption of digested lipid in lacteal. So we have seen that in the small intestine, villi are the small projections that are present, and these are the projections helps in the absorption of different nutrients. So over the villi, some specialized cells are present like this. They are designed in this way, and these cells, they can absorb some fats, they can absorb lipids, and these are called as chylomicrons. Chylomicrons are the fats over which a proteinaceous layer is present. So fats and the lipids are absorbed by the cells of the villi. If you see the internal structure of the villi, then the blood vessels are present, blood capillaries are present. Besides the blood capillary, lymphatic vessel is also present in the villi of our small intestine. So the lymphatic vessel, lymph capillary that is present in the villi of our small intestine, we name that lymphatic capillary as lacteal. So lacteal is a lymph capillary which absorbs the fats. So in this way, lymphatic system also helps in the absorption of digested lipid, that is in lacteal. Lacteal is nothing but our lymph vessel, lymph capillary that absorbs the fat. So these are certain functions of our lymphatic system. So this is about our lymphatic system, that is playing a crucial role in screening the blood, in identifying the infection, and to mount an appropriate response. I hope it's clear to you. That's all for today. Meet you in next class. Thank you.